Is the Fargo market cooling off or just catching its breath? Let's take a look at some changes August brought to the Fargo market. You want to pay attention if you're going to buy a house or sell a house this fall. Let's take a look at the changes. Hey there, I'm Marc Bushee, the man of real estate, living large in Fargo. We do a monthly market report in the Fargo market so we can tell you what's going on, what's changing in the market here. Let's take a look at some of the big indicators that really tell us where the market is headed in Fargo. All right, first, let's take a look at the number of homes that sold in August. So August, we had 350 houses sell in the Fargo market, and that's down a little bit from July where we had about 375 houses close there. But last August, a year ago, we had 300 houses sell. So yes, the market might be slowing down a little bit this summer, but compared to year over year, we're actually doing in a pretty good position right now. So yeah, a little bit of slowdown, but still holding steady. All right, let's take a look at the average sales price of homes in August. Now, it kind of has a similar story to July. We had the average home price was $370,000 in August, which is slightly down from July, which was about $15,000 higher for the average home price. But we're above about $30,000 above last year in August. So again, slight decline from July, but still doing well overall year over year. So the market's holding steady, but we're just kind of sitting in a lull right now, and things are cooling off a little bit. But then who knows? Rates are looking to drop. We might see some big change in the market here very soon. Okay, next indicator I want to talk about is absorption rate. Absorption rate is think of it as the amount of inventory we have in the market. So right now, the absorption rate is 4.5 months. So as I mentioned in the last video, so what we look at is if it's 4 months of inventory or less, that's typically considered a seller's market. There's not as much inventory. If we're 6 months or more, we're considered more of a buyer's market. And so we're creeping up. As of July, we were at 4.1 months of inventory, which is the first time I've seen above 4 in a while. So that means we're kind of climbing out of that seller's market. We're now switching over, and we're kind of more in a neutral market, which, to be honest with you, is probably best for buyers and sellers overall. It makes a nice stable market, and activity is still happening. Prices are still going up. So, but with the neutral market, the buyers can get a few concessions here as well. So sellers get good price, things are still selling relatively fast, and buyers are getting some deals. All right, and the last number I want to talk about is days on market. Now, we are definitely climbing in the days on market right now, which is kind of reflected in the absorption rate too. We're seeing more listings, and they're sitting a little bit longer than normal. So in August, we had days on market was 55 days, up a little bit from July at 50 days, but up overall from last year, 45 days, which means the houses are sitting there a little bit longer. Now, is that the end of the world? No, we're still selling houses relatively quick. It's just we are seeing some indication that maybe things are going to sit a bit longer. Again, as I mentioned, they are talking about rates going down. We don't know. We can't predict that. But if they do, it's going to bring more buyers out. The numbers I heard from a coach that said that if we see rates drop like about 0.5%, it'll bring on about 5 million new qualified buyers in the United States. So that's a big effect, just having the rates start to creep down here. So we'll see kind of how it plays out here. Okay, so here's the big picture for August. We are still seeing a little bit of a slowdown. Now, I wanted to also reflect that these numbers reflect really what's happening in July. And in July, in our Fargo market, we do see a big slowdown every year because it's the holidays, it's 4th of July, people are traveling, there's no school. So what we're seeing for closings and prices of homes and days on market in August are probably more of a reflection of what happened in July. But we're seeing a bit slowdown, and we're seeing a bit of a lower price, slightly down. We're seeing more days on market. We're seeing a little more inventory out there. So we're definitely making that shift towards more of a neutral market, which I believe personally is a healthy market. This is kind of what we saw before COVID. We have very similar inventory, very similar numbers other than price compared to 2019 right now. So it's 2019 was a good time before COVID hit. COVID made a lot of craziness. If you're selling a house, it was great for you. If you're buying a house, it wasn't so great. But yeah, this neutral market I think is really the right way to head for us, and I'm not too concerned about it. I talked to a few new agents who never worked before COVID, and they're all worried, about how long houses are sitting. But this is just back to a normal market, really. So what does this mean if you're a buyer or a seller? I think right now, to be honest, is one of the most opportune times to be a buyer in a long time. It reminds me of what happened when COVID hit. So we had the lockdowns and we had rates drop down to 3% at the same time. And the buyers that got out there before we kind of figure out what was happening in the market, they bought houses at the prices that were much lower than they are now. We've gone up, we've seen 20, 30, 40% increases in prices since 2020. So people got in these houses, they bought it right with low interest rates, and they got the appreciation now. So right now we have more inventory. Prices are up from COVID times, but we're starting to see more negotiating power from the buyers. We get more, you can get your inspections done. They'll take care of any fixes they ask for. We get sellers paying some closing costs or maybe a price reduction. So, and there's more inventory to choose from. It's just not the craziness we saw during COVID. As for sellers, now the good news is houses are still selling. We're seeing a slight increase on days on market, but they're selling still for more than they did last year, which is a good sign. Even if you grant some concessions to the buyers, you're still getting more than you would have for last year. With that, so I'm telling the sellers that we need to be more careful about how we price your house and about how we present your house. So we want to make sure that everything is prepared properly, getting a really good deep clean in the house, fixing any little fix-up items in the house, making sure that curb appeal is really, hitting good there. So we just want to make sure that if we list your house, that it is ready to sell and that it's going to stand out amongst all the rest of the competition there. So if you would like to learn more about buying a house or selling a house, I would love to sit down with you, have a meeting, or if you want to do a Zoom call, if you're not in Fargo here, I would love to help you out. You can always reach out, and my number here is my email. You can reach out anytime you want, or comment below. I do answer comments or questions down below, and if you have a question for me, put it down below too as well, and then maybe we'll address it in a future video. So this is Marc Bushee, the man in real estate. I really appreciate you checking out my video here in the market update. If you like the content here, please like the video and subscribe and share it with anyone else you think might be able to use this content. So until next time, Marc Bushee, man in real estate.